All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call this evening's meeting to order. It's 7 o'clock. And as is our tradition, we're going to start with our moment of silent reflection. So please join me in that while we keep all of those in need and distress in our special best thoughts and prayers. Thank you very much. Chief Gregory, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us on this cold, crisp January evening. But hey, a thaw is coming, right? So that's good. We have several guests. First, before we get into the guests on our agenda, we have a number of Wesleyan College students from my business law classes here this evening. And in keeping with our long-standing tradition, what we ask of you to do is stand and face the camera, or you can just go like right up in front of it, like real close, and that would like be a big thing on Channel 3 tomorrow night, right?
Different.
State your name, your hometown, and your major course of study. So we'll start with you, ma'am.
My name is Hannah Hoadley. I'm from Niagara Falls, Canada. I'm a sophomore business admin major, double minor in criminal justice and marketing.
My name is Tyler Thomas. I am from Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I am a marketing major.
I'm Sal Esposito. I'm from Woodbridge, Virginia, and I am a business management major.
Hi, I'm Taylor Starkey. I'm from Buchanan here, and I'm a public relations major with a business minor.
Hi, I'm Katie Kennedy. I'm from Odenton, Maryland, and I'm a double major in criminal justice and accounting.
Hi, I'm Evan Roberts. I'm from Renwick, West Virginia, and I'm a marketing major.
I'm Tyra Hughes from Frederick, Maryland, and I'm a marketing major.
I'm Rachel Pickett, an accounting major, and I'm from Barboursville, West Virginia.
I'm Tanner McAllister from Lewisburg, West Virginia, and I'm a business admin major.
I'm Aaron Petillion. I'm from Charleston, West Virginia, and I'm a business admin major.
Sure. And that's Tammy Rigger. What's your major back there? In the background? All right, that's great to have you all here. Our next guest is Laura Ward, the director of, it says county roads, but we know that that's country roads. I tell you, it's hard to hire good help these days, Laura. I'll be all over Teresa tomorrow on that one.
Oh, please don't. Teresa's my friend.
She's mine too. I'm just kidding. I'm all bluff. If she was here, I would be towing the line. I mean, to tell you. Welcome to City Council.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. It's always good to come and give you a report of the investment that you're making in transit in Upshur County. Country Roads Transit provided 7,915 rides in Upshur County alone last fiscal year. So I want to report a little bit on a couple years ago. You know that we reported that we had a new partnership with the Senior Center, and we took over their transportation. They contracted with us. We were able to get matching federal funds for the investment that they made, and we were able to start a route around Buchanan. So we're happy to say that last year, only 38% of the rides we provided were on that route. This year, 43% of the rides we provided were along that route. It's especially important in times when finances are tight, and so our budgets at agencies, not just operating budgets, but to admin budgets, to make the most out of what we can. We are doing more with that partnership than either of us could have done separately. Not only did that investment help their seniors, and we made sure of that by providing free passes to them. Seniors ride 60 and above, ride all day long on that route. Goes around Buchanan 7 times a day. Goes past post office, grocery store, most doctor's offices. Goes right past City Hall. It goes past the college. In case you guys don't know, you can ride Country Roads Transit. And seniors ride that for free as part of that investment by the Senior Center. They also get $15 of demand response or dial-a-ride services if they're not going somewhere along our route or if they live farther out. So seniors farther out in the county who weren't able to take advantage of the senior center service as it existed before because they could only go 3 miles from their door are now being served through that partnership. So we're happy to report that. Something that I believe it was Mr. Thomas asked us a couple years ago to try was a route between Elkins and Buchanan. It seemed to make sense since we were serving Randolph County and Upshur County, but we had no van that went in between. So we tried that for about 4 months, and we had one rider. So lots of people ask us that question. We thought
it wasn't me.
We thought it was a fabulous idea.
He's full of good ideas.
It was a great idea. Some good ideas are just ahead of their time, you know. So we did try that for 4 months. We had one rider who was a little flustered with us that we wouldn't just take her over and bring her directly back. But so since we didn't have anybody else riding that day, we did that. We took her over and brought her directly back after her ride. We are working really hard to accommodate the need. It almost broke my heart a year or two ago that some Wesleyan students got together with city council and the county commission and said, we really think there should be public transit in Buchanan. And I sat at this meeting and heard that report, and I had to take the knife out of my heart because we are public transit in Buchanan. So we go right past your campus, and there should be some of these flyers at several places on your campus. And if any of you need a ride or have friends that need a ride around Buchanan, please tell them that we are here, that we exist, okay?
Does it go to Walmart?
Yes, ma'am. 7 times a day.
You don't have to walk.
7 times a day.
7 times a day.
What's the last run as far as time goes?
We're done by about 3:30 because we have to finish our paperwork and finish. So that's one of our...
That's probably why.
Students can't use it.
But now I was a student many, many years ago. And I do remember that sometimes you have a couple hours between classes, right? So you might get there. So this brochure does have our route and all the times that we're not just at Wesleyan, but everywhere.
When does it start?
We start at 8:15 in the morning.
You might want to consider, Laura, to have something at 4:30.
We would love to. So it's a finance issue. It really is. Everything comes down to what can we afford to do, and we need to have dispatch staff present in our office anytime that we have vans on the road. Specifically a route kind of van on the road. And so it just gets to be we have to make sure we're using the public dollars that everyone's investing to serve the greatest number of people possible. And right now to do that, we have to limit the service from 8 to 4, 8 to 3:30.
I think I would ask you at some point in time, take a look at the cost analysis of what it would impact if you had one at 5 o'clock or 4:30.
We're doing that. It's one of our goals for this year.
Yeah.
So I will, if we haven't tried it by the time I come back next year, I'll have that for you.
You might have some people that'd be willing to put some money to help people out.
Great. I'll call you and we'll get a list.
I can do that.
That'd be great.
He also wants to try that Buchanan to Weston route. See how that works out.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm glad to the institution or whatever you call it.
That was a good comeback.
I like it. She's just taking all day tonight.
Using 35 years.
Can it take you with it?
No, he likes to walk.
Laura, do you find that are most of your clients, is it a St. Joe's, Walmart kind of a thing? I mean, can you profile that for us, or
Yes.
just sort of anecdotally?
The most rides we have trouble even in Upshur County because we're based out of the senior center to get younger people to realize that we're not just for seniors. So 62% of our riders are senior citizens. So what we're seeing is shopping, and Walmart's the #1 destination in both counties, by the way, Walmart. Home, so we track every single ride. So if you rode with us to Walmart and then you went home, we were going to track you both ways, and we're going to track where you're going each time. So home is the #1 destination. And really high up there is folks who are going for nutrition. So people who are going to the senior center we gave 1,200 rides to people going to the nutrition site. And I know that it's a very busy meeting, but I want you to think for just a minute of what your investment means. I keep inviting y'all to ride, and nobody's done that yet, so I'm going to extend that offer again. I want you to ride the van. I want you to experience what it is to ride that van. A senior citizen called me last week and for services in Randolph County and said, is there anybody who can come over here and drive my car? I want them to drive me in my own car somewhere. And I said, well, we really can't do that. And she said, are you going to make me ride the crazy van? And I said, oh, what's crazy about the van? Well, she'd never been on the van. So she didn't understand it. She'd never ridden public transit of any kind her whole entire life, and she's 82. So it seemed like a crazy idea to her that there's this van that rides around town and drops people off here and there. So we got her to ride the van. She loves the van. She's riding it like 3 times a week now. It's great. When most of us have cars, and we go where we want to go when we want to go there, and we're not dependent on somebody else to take us. So, when I was to the store on Sunday and my husband called me on Monday on the way home, and it was his day off, and says, could you buy some milk on the way home? And it's raining and I'm trudging through the Walmart parking lot to buy milk. And then I think to myself how lucky I am to go buy milk whenever I want to buy milk. Because if I relied on somebody else to do that, I wouldn't have been able to forget that milk, right? And then what if we weren't here and they didn't have any place to go buy that milk? So we have a real story from a real rider who lived near a convenience store. And that's where she did all of her shopping. So you've been to it was a nice convenience store, and they had more things than normal, but things are, 2-3 times as high at a convenience store? And we convinced her to ride the van, and she started going to Kroger and to Walmart. And she said to me one day, as she patted me on the hand, God bless you, she said. Do you see this whole bag of groceries I could buy with my check this time? And we don't think that. We can go wherever something's on sale or wherever something's cheap if you are mobile and have your own transportation. It means that it makes a giant difference to the people that we're serving, and we're only serving them because you choose to make an investment in this. It's a 50-50 match. Every dollar that you invest in Country Roads Transit has a $2 investment in the community. So we thank you for your continued support. We're getting ready to apply for the grant again. So we're going to ask for continued support this year.
Well, as we get into the budgetary process next month, I can't speak for the entire city council, but I can't imagine that we wouldn't renew our subscription, so to speak.
Thank you.
So we'll plan accordingly.
When's your grant deadline?
We apply the 28th of February.
What's your total budget here in Upshur County?
I don't know that. Can I get that to you?
Sure.
I think it's somewhere close to $80,000-$85,000. Don't quote me on that though, because I'm going by memory and I have a million numbers in my head right now.
And Laura, when did it start? How long has this been servicing?
So 11 years. 11 years. We celebrated not this past July, but the year before, we celebrated the 10th anniversary of Country Roads Transit. And we started in Upshur County as well. If you remember, we started with just one demand response van here. And so now we're running 2 and sometimes 3 vans a day, depending on the demand of riders here. We were able to secure, thanks to the Division of Public Transit, a larger van to do the route. We had a smaller van, and sometimes we would have to send the demand response van out to pick somebody up because there wasn't enough space on the route van to accommodate everyone who wanted to ride at that time. That is a wonderful problem to have. And so we asked, and they were generous enough to expand our fleet by giving us a bigger replacement van for that.
And you do Barber County also?
No, we don't. We don't.
At one time, did you do that?
No, Here and There Transit does Barber County, and they've been in existence a few years longer than us, maybe 4 or 5 years longer than we have.
Someone has one of your brochures.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to leave all of these here for you.
Oh, I don't want them all.
Any other questions for Laura?
Help us there.
Council Lady Capari has a question
He's gonna
for
need
you.
somebody to drive him.
Yes, ma'am.
You stop over the high rise, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is
7
it?
times a day.
I was told, is it true that you will not pull up in front and for them to get on the van there?
Okay, the route van no longer goes in the parking lot. The route van is a bigger van, and it does not go in the parking lot. We had many problems.
Maneuvering in
Yes.
there.
The fire lane that's there, if the fire lane were clear all the time, that would be fabulous. The fire lane is seldom ever clear. And so when you're maneuvering that large van, particularly if the roads are slick, through there and you get around and you have to back and move and back and move. And we had a couple little incidents there. And so we made the decision that it wasn't safe because we don't provide a ride if we can't do it safely. It wasn't safe for us to do that all that time. Now, if we have a disabled person, we try to take the smaller van to do that, and we go through.
But you know that ahead of time then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, we do. So if we have someone who does the dial-a-ride, the demand response, then we go around there and pick them up at the door. Yes, ma'am.
Because that's questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this information on our city website, Andy?
No, I just got one.
We have, would you be able to link us?
Yes.
Link to us?
Yeah, yes. County's writing it down right now.
Because
you.
that
Thank
is, that flyer is actually available on our website.
And also, there's people that live in Serenity Care that can leave. They've had somebody go with them, but they probably don't have a transportation. They would be another one. I don't know about Holbrooks, but I know Serenity Care has several patients that can actually leave the facility.
So the best way to do that, the way Dial-A-Ride works or demand response, is that you call at least a day in advance.
Right.
And we schedule that. We take you where you want to go, get you there on time, schedule it so that we get you there on time. And then when you're finished, you call us and we come and get you. It's usually 10 or 15 minutes before we'll come after.
Laura, please accept our best thanks. It's a terrific investment. Thank your staff, and Amby will be in touch with you soon, but I can't imagine that we wouldn't reaffirm our commitment to you.
Thank you. We appreciate your support.
Yep, thank you so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you. All right, next up, I'm going to introduce Jerry Arnold, who's going to introduce Misty Post. So Jerry, we're so lucky tonight. We get to hear from you twice. It's just...
I know. You gotta pay for this experience. Misty, Randy, come up. This is Misty Post. Misty started the Zach Post Memorial Food Drive. And there's a little snippet in your brochure there that tells about Zach. And Zach worked a couple summers for waste collection here in the city. And this year with the wagon rides at Christmas time, the city employees wanted to partner with the city in the use of the tractors and the facility at Jawbone and give that money to essentially one of our own. And Misty works very hard in providing food to the Parish House and the Salvation Army. And she actually, the check actually went to the Salvation Army this year of all the proceeds that we made with the wagon rides. So Misty's here, and Mayor, I'd like for you to present this fake check. Sorry, you missed the real one. But
In the age of fake news, we're going to present a fake check. You want to come up this way so we can have the city seal up here? Thank you.
Let me see it before you turn it up that way.
Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it. It looks fake.
it is fake.
It looks very nice.
Jerry, you should get in this. In our tractor drivers, BJ and Brad.
Hawkins and BJ T.
I'm just a clown figure.
Yeah, all of y'all get up here.
The night that BJ was driving the tractor, he would honk the block before he got in front of my house.
I sent him messages.
Come out and wave to the crowd.
Get out and wave at us.
You're gonna hold that and like, yeah, that's great. Oh, this is perfect.
Okay. Suck it up.
1, 2, 3. Jerry Arnold.
Yes.
Look at me.
Let's just get some Boston.
Negative photos.
There we go. You said I was getting bossy.
Remember, I still have a picture.
I can keep it.
Thank you, I'll look forward to it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember me.
I know, yeah.
One in your brochure. I'm still married, I'm still in your brochure. There's more.
I'm gonna read this real quick.
Oh, okay.
Mayor, if I may, this, just kind of how we got acquainted with Zach again in the city. In the spring of 2007, Teresa Summers asked if I had all my summer help for the waste department for the upcoming season. She mentioned that if I didn't, she would like to recommend a young man she knew that was very well-mannered, a big, strong fella that would be a good fit for our operation. We met with Zach and gave him the job. Zach worked primarily in recycling, but was also interested in the maintenance shop. And he worked the 2007-8 summer seasons with our department. The guys in the waste department like to joke around with each other, and Zach fit right in. He could dish it out as well as take it. He had a big laugh that was infectious to everyone in the room. Over 2 years, Zach worked for us. I got to know a wonderful young man who was full of life with a heart of gold. I fully understood why Misty worked so hard every year to gather donated items for the food drive. She knows that this is exactly the personification of Zach Post. He was kind, giving, and thoughtful person who left our world way too soon. I know I speak for the entire city family who knew Zach in saying that I'm proud to have gotten to know the great young man that walked into our lives in the spring day in 2007. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
It's the biggest fake check I've ever seen. Needs to be big.
I don't think we have any other guests signed up to speak, so that takes us down to our department and board reports. And Jerry will call you back to the stand, so to speak.
Under the director report, it's kind of a short report tonight. I told the guys before we came into the meeting, I said, one thing about the cold and the snow, there's not a whole lot to report on,
Lots of taking inventory, huh?
Unless you're with water and streets. The first aid CPR AED training and certification class was held yesterday. We had several of our city employees there. This is the first of multiple classes. Again, we are hoping for 100% participation. We're kind of pushing all of our employees to take this first aid CPR. Can't thank the fire department enough for hosting it. Again, you'll remember I mentioned they're doing the training. We just have to pay for the certification cards. I'm evaluating the possibility of consolidating the street and waste department equipment and activities at our Mudlick location. I've been looking at that, and the mayor brought it up at the last waste board meeting, so I've put that more on the front burner for kind of studying what we have to have out there and how that will work, combining our efforts in one site. Also, supervisors, we have nothing new to report. Under the water department, the crews continue to battle water leaks and line freezing throughout the system. They've got a lot of it under control, but they still have several small leaks that are identified that they've had bigger priorities to work on. So I know that I've gotten a report of one up towards Shawnee on a valve that was a trickle kind of leak that they will get to it. Just let them get caught up on the bigger stuff. The ACP agreement, of course, has been executed by the Water Board, and we're awaiting the executed document back from Dominion. Victoria Hill Water Storage Tank. Didn't do the update on that. That's from my last report date. The contractor did work this week. I was up there for a progress report meeting on last Thursday, and they had, I believe, 3 of the 5 rings on the tank installed. So again, it's moving along, and of course Kelly and Jerry weren't at the water board meeting. They stayed there to install a valve for that new tank that connected it into our system. So the plumbing's together, just waiting on them to finish up those 2 rings, which we anticipated 2 to 3 weeks, and that tank will be in service. Sewer department will starting the storm sewer project on Huffman Lane, which is the alley between the mural and the Davis Health Systems there. And we'll conduct a pre-construction meeting on site Monday. The project's expected to be completed in 2 to 3 weeks, weather permitting again. Be a new storm sewer, part of the mural project with the sidewalk and the landscaping bays that are out on the Canal Street side. And then a storm sewer on the lower half of the alley, or the western half of the alley. And then the street department, next construction season, will invert the eastern side of the alley to correct some stormwater issues we're having there by Dale Wright's office in that area. Nothing new to report in waste. Street department, street crews, which Brad was here, he could give his own report. Street crews have been cleaning and reorganizing the shop facilities after completing their snow removal duties during these snowy days, and engineering the Gateway West and Walk Trail grant applications. Again, Callie may report on this, were submitted today. Callie and Jay have been working on those, and they got them submitted today was the deadline. That's all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Questions for Jerry? Please tell the guys, especially in water, these continuous breaks in the lines, and there's nothing like getting a call by midnight when it's 5 degrees and the winds are howling to go out and get into a trench filled with water and take care of those problems. It's a thankless, repetitive task, and I also would be remiss if I didn't reach out to our sanitary board guys who on a couple of those more substantial breaks stepped right up to the plate and helped water out when they were working at different locations.
In a team effort, one morning we had sanitary, street, and water working together. Brad was out on a Saturday night clearing ice for a water leak until 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So it's a team effort every time that our crews are out there. And again, back to the Zach Post, the wagon rides. Can't thank these guys enough for giving up every Saturday in December. You know, we had Jeff Walmsley and of course Brad and BJ and Brad Cutright and Brian Williams and our wives, and they're coming out on those cold nights and doing that. Can't thank them enough. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Jerry, are you going to make the update on your written report with Victoria Hill?
Yep, I'll fix it, Susan.
She's meticulous with those.
Either that or I got to type all of it.
Amby Jenkins,
It's like
our
insert Jerry's report.
Our Director of Finance and Administration. Amby?
Susan, I'll type up my report for you.
I always do, thank you.
It's beginning to be time for the budgets. We have to have a general fund budget approved by around March the 21st this year. So we've sent out the packets to the department heads with the general fund. That would be street department, fire department, and the police department. So in February, we'll probably schedule a budget session or two. I'm just giving you a heads up on that. The bulk of my report is going to be about the budget revision, so I'm not sure if you want me to go over that now or just wait till it goes down into strategic. I wanted to note too, in your invoices that you're going to approve later, the bigger invoices that are not normal bills that we pay. Richard Trent, we've spent $6,000 for helping us close the general fund financial records. Bryson was issued his $1,200 that we owed him at that point in time. Health Department was expensed $5,000 as per the budget. Airport was expensed their $15,000, and Stockert was expensed $2,800 for basketball shirts. The budget revision is in the back of your packet.
Right, but we didn't see the financial.
I have to type that up for you.
Oh,
I don't have
okay.
much, it's just telling you about the budget.
Okay.
Telling you those invoices. I don't really, because I gave my full report last time about December, but I'll give you that. So unless you want me to go over the budget revision now, that's really all I have at this point.
We'll bring you back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to hurry because Matt's got his report in there. It's really report.
City Attorney Tom O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make this brief. We spent the past couple weeks finalizing things like the ACP water agreement, some HR matters, and various matters involving different boards. So we have tonight the second reading of ordinance number 423, which we'll get to obviously later in the agenda. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Compact backhoe, have we gotten a letter out or any further action on that situation?
Mr. Myers has not been responsive on that. Given the developments that we've had on that matter, I'm going to be I will schedule a meeting for next week with the prosecuting attorney for potential referral on that.
We got 2 or 3 property cleanup things, rights of ways that Matt's going to be.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting on. I'm waiting on.
Matt Hines. Don't get alarmed, please. What do you mean rights of ways?
I'm waiting on just a clarification, a good title, a green light on title as well as property descriptions, and then there'll be some deeds dedication to the city.
Questions for Tom? We'll bring you back on ordinance 423 here.
I got a question on the backhoe. I mean, it's really unbelievable how long this has taken. And I asked a question in the water board. Is he allowed to continue to do work within the city limits?
To the extent that he has existing permits, yes. I'm not aware that we don't have a statutory authority to revoke permits for this, but it's probably within council's purview to deny further permits.
I think we should do that, and especially after we found out that he actually, the property, he took the actual check rather than have the city get it. I mean, this has been a long time.
2 years.
No, I understand. And, we had been dealing with the insurance company, with the insurance adjuster on this, and we've been partially made whole. And, we were dealing with getting some additional information to the insurance adjuster to, balance out the ledger. And then this situation comes, this new situation where he had collected from his principal on the job, the fee that the city had charged him without tendering that money to the city. That sounds like fraudulent schemes to me. And
I was asking any criminal.
Well, that's for the prosecuting attorney to decide, but we certainly need to make them aware of the facts as we understand them to be. Now, that doesn't make the city whole for its loss in repairing the damage that he caused, and we would have to go through the criminal. We would be an interested party in the criminal proceeding, and I could see us petitioning the magistrate court to make, as part of the fine, making the city whole and paying over to the city, the amount that he collected. To say nothing of the insurance company's own, interest in the matter, and reimbursement to Mr. Myers' principal. So,
but the state will not allow us statutorily to say you can no longer do business.
We don't have the statutory authority to revoke already existing building permits for this reason. We would have it do for other reasons. And pass ordinance 423, there would be another one added to the mix. But obviously, this ordinance doesn't speak to that situation. So we're not in a position to revoke any previously issued.
So are we close?
That's unfortunate.
Are we close to asking the prosecutor to initiate something?
It's a matter of making him aware.
I mean, most people don't do anything until they have to.
Exactly.
And if the 2 years it hasn't got done, hopefulness probably isn't going to get us to the finish line here, so.
No, it's
Whatever.
it's time to use all tools in the toolbox. No question. We thought and we have a pending, and there is a pending civil case.
That lawsuit's still hanging over.
As well. This lawsuit is still pending, in the magistrate court that we can pursue, but it's complicated by the fact that Mr. Myers paid over or collected an amount from his principal on the contract, and that might give that individual standing to intervene in our civil case, and it would get very, very complicated very quickly.
Thanks, Tom. Other questions for Tom O'Neill? All right, Police Chief Matt Gregory, we're ready to hear from you.
We don't have a whole lot to report on tonight, just some brief updates. We are hosting 2 interns for the spring semester from the college. The names are Chris Nickerson and Anthony Bonamico. They will be shadowing officers throughout the spring semester for their internships. We're also taking, and I think I mentioned this last month when we spoke about this, volunteers in police service, volunteer wing of the police department. We are still taking applications for new membership. We do have some applications in hand that we're going to act on here in the next month or so. So if I could call on the council folks that have helped us with that in the past, we'll be calling on you here soon. We do anticipate new member training being in March and April of this year to have them ready for the warmer months when we get started with those activities. We are also in the process of working with the Police Civil Service Commission on taking applications for the vacancy that was left behind for Patrolman Barkis's resignation. Applications will be taken until close of business on February 2nd with physical agility testing scheduled for February 24th and written testing for March 10th. We decided to experiment a little bit this year and actually move our tests to Saturdays to try and accommodate our applicant pool in hopes that we have a better turnout for the testing. We're also in the process of finalizing employee evaluations with the police department and working closely with Amby and Jerry on that. And then finally, we're continuing to progress with CALEA, currently reviewing the CALEA Standards Manual, as well as sample policies. There's some light reading of about 1,000 pages that we're working on right now. We're also having some Friday meetings with Granville PD, swapping ideas, getting resources, and other stakeholders in this process. So work does continue to progress on this, and more to report as we continue to progress. I did include the monthly report for December. We'll have the annual report. I know that's everybody's favorite council meeting, right?
How do you know that?
Is it really?
We were
Well,
about that.
The mayor was hoping.
I'm guessing it is. I don't know for sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I know. I see everybody sitting down. Andy was setting me up, and I got nothing. I'm sorry. Next month. So that's.
Speak for yourself.
Well, it's not your
Yeah.
turn.
Is that the one that?
It'll be here in February.
Oh, next month. Okay, every other day.
Can you give us a
Not next
warning,
meeting,
Matt?
next month.
Right. I'm sorry.
You give us a warning?
Let's see. The third Thursday in February. So there's your warning.
I
Right?
think I'll be in Hawaii.
Okay.
Matt gave us the Reader's Digest version.
Yeah, he gave me the 15-minute challenge, and I think I only went over about 2 minutes last year.
Yeah, but we got a more severe penalty this time.
Okay, well, I'll practice between now and then.
Any questions for Chief Gregory? All right, Matt, tell the guys
I have a
to.
question. Matt, when I'm looking at these traffic citation, the listing of them, I don't see anything like that state, I see failure to yield, but is there anything failure to yield to pedestrian? Or it's I believe it's a state statute.
It is, yeah.
Yield in a crosswalk, but what about?
Right, I don't have every single traffic violation and Chapter 17.
Just the ones that-
Just the ones that are commonly cited. You will see that there are blanks from month to month. I don't change the grid any. Again, these are just common citations that we've had historically, and I'll fill them in as we need them. If I need to add a category, which I have on different months, I'll certainly add it into the grid.
I'd be glad to see failure to yield to pedestrian citations.
Yeah, sure.
I bet I could write 15 of them in 1 week on Main Street.
I mean, it's the vulnerable party is the pedestrian. I mean, who wins
Yeah.
in the car? And I mean, I cross the street all the time, and it's raining or snowing, and I'm thinking, hey, you're in a heated car. What's the problem? You know? And they race up to get to the stoplight. But you know, every customer to every downtown business is a pedestrian. And when you go to New England, they culturally are trained. When you step on the curb in Portland or any small town in New England, Hanover, they stop. I mean, you're even looking ahead to get ready to stop for something. But we haven't made that priority, and there's still a mindset that the roads are for cars, and so anything we could do to modify.
The other thing that's fashionable is people driving will stop at the stop sign. I step off the curb because I do my 15,000 steps a day. I step off the curb and cross, and they go ahead and proceed. It's like, and they give me this look, like, what are you doing? You know, I stopped.
You're in there.
They didn't vote for you.
I think that's it, yeah.
I got a better one than that. They don't stop and yield to the person who's blind with a seeing eye dog, and they still hit her.
Yeah.
Okay, that happened right here, and that was bad.
Yeah.
And then the man was ugly to me.
It was.
It'd be pretty hard
Back.
to catch somebody who didn't. I mean, it would be pretty hard to stop someone who didn't yield to the, I mean, what do you,
I don't know.
how do you see? Yeah, it would.
Yeah, step
I guess we could identify some places where it happens commonly and
I know.
have someone on foot.
Maybe part of the difficult thing, though, about enforcement in some of these areas, it's difficult for you all to sit in those areas. I mean, you know, the post office area, where are you going to sit? I mean, there's a parking lot there, but where are you going to sit on Main Street?
So that you can get
I will say that in the warmer months, our bike patrol does sit at various intersections on Main Street, and if they do actually issue a citation, a lot of times they may try to write a warning. You see our warnings have increased tremendously this year. But if they do issue a citation, it more than likely be fair to stop at a stop sign and not fair to yield the right of way to a pedestrian. So just because you're not seeing that particular category doesn't mean that area isn't being monitored.
Well, if you need a citizen to like be the walking dummy, you know, I'm ready. When I walk across there, you know, I try to train the driver
operation.
Did you get
and
that?
I'm ready to jump up on their hood, you know, make sure to put a dent.
I volunteered to put a chair in the middle of Hart and Smithfield, and I think it was Jerry Arnold said, well, you'll get run over real fast.
A chair?
Yeah, I was going to put a stop sign on my head.
That's probably a violation in and of
Another
itself.
But people
I think it's
go
called
through that
obstructing
sign
traffic.
all the time.
I can't, how come we can't be deputized?
All right, let's
Raise your right hand.
let's rein this one in a little
Thank
bit,
you.
folks. Thanks, Matt. Tell all the guys we appreciate them and be safe. All right. Next up is our information coordinator and grant writer researcher Kelly Cronin-Sams, who's brought millions of dollars tonight. Look, it's just going to be falling out of her pocket.
Yeah.
Welcome, Kelly.
Well, I've got to say, CJ, Nathan has an uncle in Boston, and they may slow down and stop for pedestrians, but they speed up for those roundabout intersections. They kind of try to see how fast they can get into those. A little intense. But in your packet, you do have a report. It's not too lengthy, but it's been kind of a whirlwind, fun first few weeks. And Matt mentioned they have a few interns, and I'm really excited that I'm working with a communications and public relations intern, and her name is Natalie Schaffner, and if you don't mind yet standing up.
Good evening, everyone.
You probably already saw the email that she had sent out, introductory email, but since you're here in person, do you mind saying just a few words about yourself?
Sure. My name is Natalie Schaffner. I'm a business administration major from Wesleyan, and as she said, this semester I'll be working as an intern with the PR, social media, marketing, and working on a communications policy for the city of Buchanan, and I'm very pleased to have this opportunity.
Where are you from?
Severn, Maryland.
So I'm really excited to be working with her. We met with Dr. Emily Susan last week, and she started, I think on Sunday, you were already working.
Yeah. I'm excited.
And she'll be in Tuesday and Thursday mornings, so if you're interested in coming in sometime when Natalie's in the office, she's coming in Tuesday and Thursdays mornings, and we'll be working on, like she had said, the press releases, social media posts, and also we're working on developing a communications plan for the city of Buchanan. And that'll probably have a heavy focus too on social media and some guidelines, not only for City Hall, but for all of our departments. I know some of the others have pages already, so just having a citywide policy on some things that are good to post and maybe some things we want to stay away from. And at any rate, we'll be working on that. Thanks, Natalie. Thank you. And as far as that goes with the website and the social media sites, Rich Clemens was in yesterday, and we're working on getting access to all of those. So far, I just have access to the Facebook page now, and I'll be working, I think, tomorrow morning on getting the website access officially. And then the Twitter site, I'm talking with Twitter to try to find out if we should just deactivate that one because it doesn't seem to be active anymore. Maybe it was initiated by a previous administration or mayor. So I'm going to see about either deactivating that one because I'd like the handle to be Buchanan WV instead of Buchanan City, or at least gain access to that one. We've been working on a few press releases. You probably saw the one this afternoon about Huffman Lane, which Jerry reported on, and that was just a very brief one. But also, Natalie's been working on one on the toter system, and also on the Stoffert fundraising, and I've been working on one on the water system improvements as well. So as soon as I have access to the website, I'll plan to post those there. And also, I would assume go ahead and share those with the local media, but just wanted to present that here to you tonight also and make sure that's a go as far as you all are concerned.
I have a question.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. You know that electronic sign that, you know?
The LED?
Yeah,
sheets?
yeah. Do we have our city seal coming up on that anywhere, or like welcome to Buchanan or whatever?
It does say welcome to Buchanan, but it's in blue font against a snow.
It's not very readable.
No, it's not.
And we get so many of those, right?
Yeah.
Wait, how can we fix that?
But black print on white background in
We have to provide
Bookman old style. Welcome to the city of Buchanan.
Yeah, something other than that.
Amby's
I mean, I don't know,
got
is-
connections with the fellow, the lady that does that, right?
You do?
Logan Outdoor, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know if it was Callie or you or.
She'll be glad to turn it over to Callie.
Thank you, Callie. Did you even know what I'm talking about?
I do. Amby has been keeping me up to date, and she has talked to me a little bit about that, but I don't remember the details of how many times per month or per year that we're.
8 per minute.
But how many does the city?
But I think we're allotted a certain number, and I don't remember what that number is.
I think you should put like a cross before we stop.
Yeah.
What we would put on that.
Some of them are great and some of them you can't read, you know.
I worked with wood yesterday.
Kelly, I have a question. Is there a process, an approval process for the press releases before you send them out?
Well, that's what I was hoping to kind of have answered from you all tonight. If you want that to approve each one.
As a
or
council?
As a council, or what I've been doing is I've been sending them to the department that is affected or would be not more knowledgeable about it. And mostly, they always go to Jerry and Amby too.
Oh.
And then maybe additional people if
Yeah.
it warrants it.
You've been copying me on all of them.
And yes, so
It's been fine so far.
Yeah.
is that adequate then? Is what I-
Yeah, I was just curious.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
We could go down there and just stand there and watch it
not
and
want to be
see
waiting
what
for
they
us
say.
to
I mean, I've
Right,
been,
that's what I was thinking, that it might slow it down too much.
I've been doing the press releases for pushing 2 years now.
He never asked for anyone's approval.
It's like, I got time for that. You know, we need to tell the press today.
I'm new here.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
I just thought there should be some process. Yeah, I think that's good. And you can put that in your communication plan.
Yes, for sure.
Have we had any complaints about that song?
I've not heard any.
I've had one. He won't complain anymore.
Won't complain anymore?
No, don't say that.
What'd you do?
Let's hear this, Mary, what's going on? Did you get the rolling pin? Was that Tommy?
No, I just told him. He says, never mind.
Okay, moving right along. Anything else, Callie?
Yeah, she's done the
Just
PC.
quickly, I've been.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
The computer that I'm working with is fairly slow, but I think Amby's looking at maybe getting some prices on possibly getting a new one because it is really slow.
You want to use my laptop? It's brand new and I don't know how to use it.
Well, I wrote one into the volunteer center grant too, so
Yeah, then she'll
hoping that comes through. So that brings me down to the grants. This past Tuesday, we did upload the volunteer center grant application, so that's in. We should hear something March 1st is the date they listed, so we've got to wait a little while to see about that. And then today, Jerry already reported on the Poundstone and Gateway West expansions of the Riverwalk Trail system. Those were submitted to the DOH grants program. And then I think they're later in the agenda too because still needed a resolution from council on those. And then for grants on the horizon, there's a fire department grant coming up in February that I've already talked to JB and Lynn Baxa a little bit about. And they are working on that, but they're going to have me review the narrative sections. And then there's the Conservation Fund grant in April that we might want to look at either for trails or the Stockert Gym. And then this part wasn't in your packet, but I decided to add in just a few things that are coming up that I'll be attending. January 30th is the Buchanan Rotary. I'll be there doing a presentation for the city. So if you have anything that you'd like to be included in that presentation, please feel free to forward that. This weekend, I'll be going Sunday to the Municipal Lakes Midwinter Conference in Charleston. And that's Sunday and Monday I'll be down there. And then February 2nd is the 41st annual Groundhog Day celebration. And the mayor's invited to speak there, but he has class in the morning on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So
Principal fireman.
I'll be attending the mayor's statement, and if anyone from council would like to attend and is able to attend,
What time is that in the morning?
they start off at 9:30, and then French Creek Friday makes an appearance at 10 a.m. on the week of Monday.
And what day of the week?
That is Friday, and that's the February 2nd.
I think you should take your whole class on a field trip to see it.
We'll talk.
You can call that bus.
And my remarks should be a half hour or less, is that about right?
I said a minute or two. You
What
gotta
time is your class?
have time to leave. Test and you know, time for Freddie to come out, so very
Do
brief.
some sort of out of.
Okay.
You're gonna say anything, yes.
Questions for Callie? Sounds like a pretty busy couple of weeks, but the most important thing of the first 2 weeks is Willow had her second birthday last week.
Oh, that's
So
right.
that's a big thing.
Was your birthday on the exact same day as your grandfather's?
Not the exact same day. Hers is the 11th, and his is the 13th. And mine is tomorrow.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy 29th.
You're not getting a raise.
Is that the 4-0 count?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Give me a few more years.
We're I'm gonna make you walk home.
Well, I thought you were about the same age as JD.
Stop signs.
37 will be tomorrow.
JD just had his 4th grandbaby.
I don't mind. 37 good years.
Well, my
Okay, thanks, Callie. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Correspondence and information. You've got the letter from Peter Brown and Altice, and you might be wondering what Altice is. Altice is the European enterprise that recently closed with Suddenlink. Stars is being taken out of the lineup, but they did just add about 10 of the Viacom services that they took off 2 years ago. At the end of your dial, So VH1 and MTV, which are Dave Thomas's two favorite channels, they're back online, along with Comedy Central, Black Entertainment Television, Spike TV, Nickelodeon, TV Land. So some folks have said, it's not on my TV. You got to go to the end of the dial. That's where they added them.
You gotta re-sync your channels.
Yep, you're exactly right. There's also a notice and timetable that we approved at a special meeting just last week for hiring our new fire chief. There's a notice in your packet about the employee safety meeting on February 12 at 5:30 at the Community and Training Room at the Public Safety Complex. And then there's a notice and timetable. What we did for the fire chief, we took the notice of vacancy in the position to the fire department guys, asked them to weigh in, and it's in your packet. It's a very, very thorough job description that included about 30 or so bulleted items. So the last 24 hours or so, I took the old notice that was utilized when Jim Townsend was hired and dovetailed some of what the fire department guys had come up with into what I think catches everything we need to do. We are not going to publish in any newspaper the entire page-and-a-half job description and notice of vacancy. But what I propose to do is we will have published the short half-page, 4-paragraph vacancy and position that will take them to the city website where we'll have the full page-and-a-half relative to our expectations. So that was shared with you all earlier today. I think it's very complete and has everything that we need to have in it, from salary range to the standard Equal Employment Opportunity Commission statement, who to send the applications to. I think it's all in there. So I would entertain a motion that we approve this notice so that we can get it out first of the week and start this process. I have a motion by Mrs. Albaugh and a second by Mr. Rylands. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. That's it for correspondence and information. Takes us down to our consent agenda, which consists of 3 items this evening. We're going to be approving the minutes of our regular meeting of January 4, and then there's a mistake relative to the special meetings. We did not have a special meeting on January 16, so we will just be approving the special meeting minutes for January 11. We're going to reschedule the municipal assessment meeting probably for the first Tuesday in February, I think is what we're looking at. We're going to approve our building and wiring permits and pay our bills. Those are the 3 items under the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Skinner. May I have a second to his motion?
Second.
I have a second by Council Lady Albaugh. We could just sit here all night. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for that question. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Takes us down to strategic issues for discussion and/or vote. And the first item, we're going to call back Tom O'Neill, who's going to read by caption and walk us through Ordinance 423. This would be the second and final reading of this ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good to be back with you. So we'll read it by title and discuss the provisions we discussed the last meeting and answer any questions. Ordinance number 423 of the City of Buchanan, and Ordinance 1 prohibiting the depositing of asbestos or the attempted depositing of asbestos at any facility owned or operated by the City of Buchanan Waste Collection Board for the collection, transfer, or disposal of general waste or refuse. 2, establishing penalties for persons violating the provisions of this ordinance. 3, providing for ineligibility of persons cited or found guilty for a violation of this ordinance for issuance of building or demolition permits or contractor's licenses. and 4, providing for restitution payable to the city for abatement. So, as discussed previously, the genesis of this ordinance was 2 incidents out of the transfer station in which asbestos was dumped or attempted to be dumped, resulting in one case in a couple $1,000s worth of cost to the city. I don't remember the exact figure. 37 what?
I think it was 30 some few $100.
$3,800.
And we did end up recovering that, but still.
Right. It's, you know, the ordinance criminalizes that activity or the attempt, and it provides for fines, it provides for restitution, and it further provides that contractors or other individuals who are cited or found guilty under this ordinance are ineligible for the issuance of building permits for a period of a year, and it permits the suspension of any outstanding building permits.
And besides the monetary issue, there's safety issues.
And time. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Shuts our waste collection facility down while we're trying to figure out if it's a hot asbestos load or not. It's a real pain in the tail, absolutely.
Because once that's dumped into the bin, the whole bin is considered contaminated.
I would entertain a motion that we approve on the second and final reading, ordinance 423 of the city of Buchanan.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Thomas. May I have a second to his motion?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Skinner. Is there any discussion on the motion? I would point out that there is the standard 30-day waiting period. If you approve this ordinance, this will be fully effective on February 17. If there's no further discussion, I'm going to call for the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Takes us down to F2, Resolution 2018-01, Gateway West Phase 3 Transportation Alternative Sidewalk and Lighting Project. Dr. Alley, you want to read that by caption so we know what's going on with this particular resolution?
Sure. Resolution number 2018-01. Resolution number 2018-01 of the Council of the City of Buchanan formally offering its support for the Gateway West Phase 3 Transportation Alternative Sidewalk and Lighting Improvement Project.
Jerry, do you want to
okay.
say anything
Submitted
about
to
this?
the West Virginia Department of Transportation, Division of Highways.
It's just another, the next phase of our Gateway project, that's the sidewalks on the south side of West Main Street, essentially. That will end thereabouts where Hazel Ware property is. And it provides lighting on that side of the street as well. Like I said, we've got the
north side,
the design side for the north side, and this is just the next step in that process.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would entertain a motion that we approve resolution number 2018-01. May I have a motion to that effect? I have a motion by Mr. Rylands. May I have a second to his motion? Council Lady Alval has seconded his motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? The city recorder will roll call the vote.
Yeah, let me get it down first. Mayor McCauley?
Yes.
Susan Alloy, yes. Mary Albaugh?
Yes.
Pamela Kapari?
Yes.
CJ Rylands?
Yes.
Robert Skinner III?
Yes.
J. David Thomas?
Yes.
Jay, I didn't realize, what is your first name?
John.
John, okay.
Everybody knows.
Well, now everybody knows. All right, so, for this one, pay attention.
I'm
For
sorry.
this one, you need to sign on the left-hand side where under,
In favor.
because, not beside your name, but right above your name.
You don't want me to oppose it.
For accident, I mean, you could, if you saw your name there and then
I'll
sign the
I'll
line
set the
next to it, you
example
might
for you.
accidentally do that. Okay, and then you can sign this and then I'll
You can sign my name.
Yeah. Do that right
we'll be
now.
done. Get that lanes.
It won't be legal.
There you go. That takes us down to item F3, Resolution 2018-02, the Poundstone Riverwalk Trail Extension, number 4, Transportation Alternatives Project. Dr. Alloy, would you entertain us by reading the caption of that resolution?
Resolution number 2018-02 of the Council of the City of Buchanan formally offering its support for the Elizabeth J. Pinky Boundstone Riverwalk Trail Extension Number 4 Transportation Alternatives Project, also submitted to the West Virginia Department of Transportation Division of Highways.
Jerry, do you want to say anything about that one?
Again, another submission, the second submission for this project would be a trail extension widening from Marion Street where the current trail ends up the Railroad Avenue right-of-way to the alley that runs along the old A.F. Windley out to Wood Street, along Wood Street to the end of that FEMA lot that we owned prior to crossing the rail siding to Moore's Business Homes.
I would entertain a motion that we approve Resolution 2018-02 of the City of Buchanan.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Thomas. May I have a second to his motion?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Skinner. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for that question. All those in favor? Those approving?
call.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, roll call vote. Dr. Alloy, will you call the roll? Forgot about that.
Mayor McCauley,
Yes.
Susan Alloy, yes. Mary Albaugh,
Yes.
Pamela Kapari,
Yes.
C.J. Rylands,
Yes.
Robert Skinner III,
Yes.
John David Thomas.
Yes.
You're gonna get that John David every time now. Every time. Okay, and we'll sign off on that one. It takes us down to item F4, which is Resolution 2018-03, General Fund Budget Revision. Dr. Alloy, would you read us the resolution by caption?
Resolution 2018-03. At a regular session of the Municipal Council held January 18, 2018, the following order was made and entered.
And Amby is already, you want to speak to what we're doing with that, Amby?
The revision of the levy estimate of the City of Buchanan.
Before we put it all in Amby's head to Hawaii fund. Somebody else said that earlier. Thomas is going to Hawaii. You might as well go too, right?
The copy of the revision is in the...
Yes.
Walk us through it, Amby.
Okay, in the back of your packet, you'll see the detailed line-by-line item. It's about 1.25 pages of revisions that I've made. The other two items are the revision that I need to send to the state that compiles the information and the resolution that council has to vote on and then take a roll call vote on. I'll just go over the details of how the revision came about. Most of it's got to do with donations that were received that are to go to certain line items and approvals from the city council from their contingency fund. So I'm moving it out of the contingency fund into the line items it's to be expensed from. So I'll briefly go over what those approvals were. First part is the grant and information writer's salary and benefits in the 409 account. And unless you want me to go item by item, highlights of it.
Sure.
The portion that belongs to the general fund is $4,376 for salary, $268 for ICA, $1,968 for insurance, and $481 for retirement. Under council's capital outlay, $3,500 needs to be added to that to add to banners that were approved for $2,900 holiday banners, the $575 fire certification. And I need to get enough money back in there because you had promised $5,000 to the Strawberry Festival and $5,000 to Festival Fridays, which was previously approved, but I have to put that money back in there to be sure to cover those expenses. Under under police travel expense, we've got the CALEA travel that I had to add $2,500 back to. Under police training, I've got $8,400 in there, and that's for the CALEA certification and enrollment. We have not expensed the $8,000, but Matt expects he will probably expense that before the year ends, so it's already accounted for, so it's ready to...
We said that would come out of the council's capital outlay?
It's coming out of your contingency, but I have to put it into travel
Budget
expense.
on the police department.
Right.
Yeah, council capital outlay was the 410. That goes into, that's because we spent for the 570 for the fire department certification and banners. So I put that in there to be expense down. Let's see, 3,400 for Kalia. The architect, the increased amount for his compensation was 1,800, so I've added that in there. And then, as you can see, the contingency from all of those revisions at the tops, 23,368. That's coming out of contingency. Down in your next line, you'll see the miscellaneous revenue. We had donations from Art 26201 for 5,000 towards the theater and 500 from BCT towards the theater. So I'm putting that into theater capital, $5,500 to be expensed from there, along with the grant of $102,000 that's already there. Next line item, there was a donation from, I don't remember, $691. I think it was Hunter Safety Force. They donated $691 to the safety complex because they use that facility. So I put it in safety complex to expense back out on whatever is needed. We had donations for National Night Out and the police calendars. And we had a donation from First Community Bank for the National Night Out. And a donation from Elmore Fire Department for National Night Out. And we had payments, donation for calendars and Royce Public, oh, I guess that's for the calendars as well. Anyway, $1,950 will go back into the police department materials and supplies for the donations from National Night Out and the calendars. We received several donations for the dog park, and we're moving that into $13,900 that will go towards the dog park expenses. Drill team, I just have to clean up a couple things in Stockers. They received more funds in the drill team, and they're expensing more, $2,000. That's bottom of the page and the next page. Then they also received money from Zumba, more than expected, so they expense more than expected, $600. Then I have just two other line items that need to be cleared up. The police funds, where we added the geotabs and cell phones to the police department. I increased that line item for police funds to $2,000, and we collected more in business license, so I took it out of that. And the only other thing I have, just as a note, the donations that we received for the Stockbridge Youth Center auditorium, I am going to place that into a savings account, so as the donations are made, it's not a CD. I cannot just keep depositing into a CD, so I'm putting it into a savings account investment for $3,650 of what we've received so far. There's still some promises out there, but I haven't received those, but that's what those total to.
What's the high interest rate you're getting?
No, the big whopping 0.08%. Although I'm expecting some interest rates to go up, and that's what the good thing is about a savings account. If I see something out there, then we can always move that to a CD that's a little longer term.
And is the rest of the capital fund in the CD?
Yes, those other capital campaign, about 150,000, that's in CDs. And actually, some of that is coming up in March or April, and that may be better.
That's been there from Stockard for.
Yes, that's the capital campaign for Stockard, yes. About $150,000.
Very thorough and complete as always, Andy.
Very easy, Dustin.
I would entertain a motion that we approve Resolution 2018-03, modifying our general fund budget.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mrs. Albaugh. May I have a second to her motion?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Skinner. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing of the need for none, we're going to roll call the question. Dr.
On the
Allen?
motions, if I can find the resolution. Okay, here we go. Mary Albaugh.
Yes.
Pamela Kapari.
Yes.
Susan Alloway, yes. Clifford J. Rylands.
Yes, the third.
That's right.
Oh, well, there's no third there. And this one says Robbie Skinner.
Well, it can only be one
Just
third.
make sure you sign the way it's here.
Sure.
Say vote. Is that sure vote?
Yes.
David Thomas.
John David Thomas.
No, there's no John on this. I have to read it the way it's here, so.
Yes.
Okay. And David McCauley.
Yes.
All right. So when you sign this one, you're signing beside your name and circling the yes to the right. Got it. So it's all, you're on, yeah, on that same line.
Wilbur. All right, that takes us down to item F5, which is authorization of the FEMA, that's the Federal Emergency Management Agency, generator grant application, assurances construction program. Jerry, do you want to speak to that briefly? This is not yet the next wave that we're talking about for City Hall, Stockard, and Theater. This is the three original with water, sewer, and public safety complex. Is that right?
This one is actually just for public safety complex.
Because water and sanitary have approved their.
You had authorized the mayor's signature on a form similar to this, but they added a couple construction assurances to the program. So that's all it is just authorizing the mayor's signature on this to assure.
This is a 100% grant for generators at the water plant and sewer plant. Water board has already approved the water board generator. Sanitary has already approved the sewer plant generator. But the public safety complex falls under the auspices of the general fund, which you all oversee as the city council. So I would entertain a motion that I be authorized to sign this grant application.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Skinner. May I have a second to this motion? I have a second by Mr. Thomas. Is there discussion on this motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for that question. All those in favor of the motion authorizing me to sign the FEMA generator grant application for the public safety complex, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Takes us down to comments and announcements. And first up, A is for Apple, J is for Jack. Mary Allball, what do you have for us?
About,
You do that.
I have more information about it, so.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I hope it was educational for you because every time I come, it always is. So thank you very much, and that's it.
Thanks, Mary. Bianca Perry.
Well, since the students are really thrilled to be here, I was wondering if they have any questions for any of us.
I must have covered things really well.
Yeah, I got some.
Do you all have to write a paper on this?
Yes, they do.
Oh, you do?
Do you have certain questions you have to answer, or do you just, is it like a summary of the meeting, or?
Have one-page summary of the meeting, one-page reaction, reflection of Buchanan city government based upon attendance at the meeting.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We should have known that
I really- 35 years of being schmoozed. Yeah.
All right.
Anything else, Pam?
Nope.
Mr. Rylands?
I'm good.
Nothing. Wow. Mr. Skinner?
My essay is probably still somewhere in your office.
Probably is.
It's like a bomb went off.
I'm
in there.
sure it is. It's in some documents.
Okay, so the West Virginia State Legislature invites or has the opportunity for different organizations to come down to the state capitol and present and or lobby for their particular group or organization. This year is the first ever Upshur County Day at the state capitol. It is going to be February 28th. That is a Wednesday. The Chamber and CVB office is coordinating this effort. So basically, we have about 8 booths / tables already signed up to go down to Charleston. And what this is to bring awareness to our elected officials from across the state of what we have to offer here in Buchanan and Upshur County. The Chamber office has received a phone call from Carrie up the street at the courthouse. I came down today and talked to Amby. She suggested that I bring this up during my comments tonight, that we may want to get a table, get a booth together, or partner with the Upshur County Commission to put a joint table together in Charleston during this event. I will be there, so I'm happy to man the city's table if we so choose to have one. It's not going to cost us anything. We set up, and we will be, we'll figure it out. I mean, we'll get there, but we've got like Core Hearts going, we've got CJ's, we've got our city, our Chamber of Commerce, our Convention Visitors Bureau, the Event Center, some Main Street businesses. So the more the merrier. The more tables we have, the more booths we have. Obviously, it looks better on our behalf. And obviously, the more people we can get to go down there would be better too. So what I'm asking tonight is, can we get this together and put a group together and a table together to go to Charleston to be a part of Upshur County Day at the Capitol?
Has Wesleyan been involved?
Wesleyan's part of this too. They'll be going.
St. Joe's?
St. Joe's, they'll be going.
I got a call, they even invited the American Legion, so we're going.
Okay, perfect. I can't think of a possible reason why we would not want to participate in that. And in the spirit of getting information out, if Callie wants to go down, I think that'd be a perfect thing for her to participate in as well.
Might be a good idea to get a little short list of things we want to lobby, because we can lobby without a license. And I've been told by my political guru that the only way to differentiate yourself is with food.
Right.
So Tom may know, if you've seen these go on, is that what brings the legislators out is free food?
You do get, well, senators provide their own food for themselves. You get members of the House. Nobody feeds them hardly.
The animals, huh?
You can turn their heads with food.
What kind of food?
We're working on that.
May want to engage Mountain Roaster and Stone Tower Brews. That could be some interesting. Oh, you got it covered. So much for me having bright ideas.
So is that something we want to do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Since it's not on the agenda, we can't actually take a vote on it, but I think we've got the universal
Consensus.
support of the council.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll put us down.
Help any way we can.
There's 9.
What else?
I mean, we're not violating any kind of laws hanging out, but the.
So what about CJ's suggestion about identifying items that, or priorities that might be lobbied for? We've got another meeting before
Anyone has
then.
ideas?
Well, you'd have to look through the list of introduced bills and bills that are moving.
That might affect us.
When is this again?
28.
February.
Yeah.
Oh.
Basically,
Well, okay, here's the problem. Well, the problem is that by then, it's really too late.
for this session.
For this session,
Yeah.
yeah.
So plant the seed for next year.
Exactly.
Well, what you'd probably, what I would recommend is that you be in touch with the municipal league and see what their legislative agenda is and what you're in, what you'd be interested in keeping up with the municipal league to do.
Sure. But it's a good opportunity to lobby overall for things
It's never a bad thing.
The 28th is crossover day, so that is the 50th day of the session. Every House-originated bill has to be out of the House by that day. Every Senate-originated bill has to be out of the Senate by that day. So in other words, all the bills have already been through the committee process on each respective side. The only things that are still moving are the things that are either on third reading that day or that have already passed one house. And that could be that's only a couple hundred bills. And so you can go through that list at that time and see what is running that interests the city and promote that. But
Well, more importantly, it might propagate the buzz of Buchanan.
Right, that's
Or even
more
more
what
people know we're working
Well,
together.
people still down there talk about the display that the Quarter H Authority had, a few years ago, through the whole rotunda area. I mean, nobody's done anything like that before or since. And, obviously, Buchanan, Upshur County was part of that, was part of that effort.
Too bad we couldn't do a piece of Main Street.
Well, we're going to have lots of photos, I promise you that.
Well,
So-
One other thing you need to be aware of. There are significant structural problems with the Capitol Dome right now, almost to the point of it being dangerous. And within the next 2 weeks, the rotunda is going to be closed off for the next 2 years with scaffolding and everything to affect major structural repairs. So you're only going to have those little halls outside each chamber that are going to be only accessible through narrow little corridors that are going to kind of skirt around the outside. So it's not going to be like it usually is down there. It's going to be very cramped, and it's going to be, just be aware.
It sounds great, Robbie. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Mr. J. David Thomas.
I'd just like to point out to people really need to start thinking more in this kind of weather about their animals. And, I know through the grapevine a couple days ago, there was a dog down by the Poe Bridge, and it was loose, and somebody called animal control, and I guess they don't answer the phone after working hours. And the person calls the comp center, and they say, just leave the dog there. This was 2 nights ago. I mean, we have issues with our furry friends, unfortunately, that people don't really pay attention to them the way they need to. And I think, we give about $900 or $1,000 to the county for part of the animal control scenario. David, it's one of those agenda items I think that, we talk about sitting down with the county commission occasionally. We haven't done it for quite a while. I think the last time we did it was when Laura Ward talked about the students from Westland asking for some traffic rides and so forth. But I think that we do have some commonality with the county commission we need to address, and I think that's one of the issues. Unfortunately, somebody told me a couple weeks ago that 900 dogs went through the animal shelter. That's a lot of dogs for our size community. And I know it's with Lewis County also. Think about the individual animals out there. If you see something that's abandoned or abused, we need to try to help the scenario out.
Thanks, Dave.
That's what happens.
I've got a note here. I meant to mention it to Callie during her presentation, that at last week's Animal Care and Control Commission meeting, there was request made to get stuff on our website about the need to bring pets in at night. And there's some criminal penalties associated with these kinds of things. So, and also some information about the dog park too, Callie. We'll do that as well. Anything else, Dave?
That's it. Thank you.
No, nothing. Wow, that takes me down to my comments. Just a couple of quick things. I think we're looking at a special meeting. Is it February 6th?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Well, that was one of the dates I said, that one's okay.
Tuesday, February 6th, because of the weather the other night, we didn't have our special meeting from the assessment committee that has to do with town and gown relations. Dr. Alloy has generated through, well, you've got an intern to help generate that too.
I had an intern and 2 research,
Yeah.
MBA research on it.
Yeah, so there's some data that I think will be very compelling for us to process, digest, discuss concerning town and gown relations. That's one of those specialty committees that we've been waiting to hear from, and she's got some good stuff to share with us. So
6 p.m. okay?
6 p.m. should be good. Does that work for everyone? That would be Tuesday, February the 6th at 6.
Is it all of us?
Yes, it's the entire city council.
Matt, the
Special
meeting
meeting.
at Police Civil Services meeting at 5 to look at the apps, we should be done by 6, shouldn't we?
I would say so.
Okay. So 6 o'clock on Tuesday, February 6th it is. And certainly thank the students for coming out. Let's get behind this February 28th effort. I'll try to make an appearance now on Groundhog Day too. The Lurch hat will be going up here right soon. Right? Great. Yeah, can't wait for that. Followed by Valentine's Day and then Easter. I mean, at Easter I'll do something special.
You already have these things done, right?
Oh yeah, they're all just recycled.
Jerry has a closet full.
He does. He's got a closet full of Lurch stuff. I would entertain a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Skinner, man, second to his motion. Second by Mr. Thomas. Call for the question. All in favor, adjourn, signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned at 8:31.